Ever met someone who seems a little bit different? Maybe they're super intense. They avoid small talk, need loads of alone time. They could be autistic, and they might not even know it. Let's talk about the signs of autism in adults that most people completely miss. And by the end of this video, you'll have a much better insight into whether you should or shouldn't consider going down the diagnosis path. Welcome, my stars of Orion. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Orion Kelly, that autistic guy. I'm all about providing validation and support for autistic people and their loved ones. Let's do this. Some signs of autism in adults you might have completely missed. Starting with a preference for alone time over social time. You see, autistic adults often need more alone time than, say, the average bear. It's not because we dislike people. Well, some. It's because socializing is exhausting for autistic people. Let's say you're friends with someone who always turns down hangouts, right? Invitations for hangouts, but they seem totally fine with one-on-one chats, catch-ups time, right? Or they like hanging out with you, but they never seem to invite you over to their place. These are the types of signs that people miss. See, our home is our safe place. It's sacred. It's our recharge station. So although things can seem small to neurotypical people, an example would be like the pop-in. What's with the pop-in? You can't just turn up at my house unannounced and uninvited and expect to receive anything but a glaring look and potentially a pitchfork mob chasing you down the street. That's never happened, but in my mind, I wish it would. Honestly though, that feeling of the pop-in, it feels like someone's physically kicked down your door like an FBI or something, right? They've kicked down your door and they've just charged in your house. Your home is your fortress, your castle, your safe place. Someone coming unannounced is really no different to an unannounced visit from law enforcement in the middle of the night. A raid. Right? That is how it sounds when someone rocks up to your house and you're not ready for it. Okay? Don't drop by unannounced. Why? Okay, here's an example. Let's say this happens to you. So you're home in your safe place and you're requiring some alone time. Maybe it's to decompress. Maybe it's to recharge. Maybe it's to regulate yourself. The world has dysregulated you. Regardless of the reason, you not only really enjoy, but actually need right now that quiet time, that alone time, for those very reasons. And a friend, a family member, someone you know quite well drops by, and you're mid-re-regulation, and your reaction comes across cold, rude, unwelcoming. But see, to you, they're the people who are rude and unwelcoming, right? They've basically punched down your door like a raid in the middle of the night. Let's move on to communication. Are you someone who seems to communicate differently? Now think this one through, because this one is huge. Do you interrupt? Do you ask what others think are odd, excessive, unusual, unnecessary questions? Follow-up questions. Do you get stuck on specific words, specific things you or someone may have said 5 minutes ago? My wife and I can have these situations. She could be telling a story. I will stop her mid-sentence and ask her, hang on, what did you mean by that? And I've got a question, sorry, what was that about? Now, it's not because I'm trying to derail the conversation or the story or disrespect her. It's simply that I need to understand that part before I can continue to follow the rest of the story. See, autistic adults often ask for clarity, follow-up questions. Sorry, can I just get this right? Because see, without it, we actually risk misinterpreting everything. And here's the paradox. When we ask a ton of questions, people get annoyed. When we don't ask and just guess, people get upset because we completely misinterpret or get the entire story or conversation wrong. We can also struggle with conversations that don't have a clear point. Okay, if someone's venting or just chatting for the sake of it, a lot of times I'm sitting there thinking, hang on, where is this going? What is the point? What do they need from me? What's the problem and what solution can I provide? Now, I'm not trying to be rude. It just doesn't register to me naturally that people are speaking not for a result, but because they just want to speak. It's part of their process of maybe dealing with emotions. They're not just trying to share information to then get some sort of feedback or solution. They're just trying to talk to you about stuff for no reason. You see, the autistic brain is stronger logically than emotionally. Therefore, we are going to be those types of people that not only are black and white, rigid sticklers, but also we see things. We pick up on errors, mistakes, oddities, naturally, and for the most part easier than neurotypical people. Therefore, when you're giving us information, our brain automatically thinks, okay, I'm getting information. I need to understand every word. If I don't, I'll just ask some questions to elaborate or to, clarify, and then I'll be able to formulate the best possible response or solution to whatever the information is that's being given to me. It doesn't occur to us that you wish to share a problem, not to have it solved, but simply to share it, to vent. Yeah. See, I always thought venting was a process used as a solution to releasing heat or energy, right? I guess what I'm saying is maybe your non-autistic partner or friend is simply full of heat. Wait, that came out wrong. Another sign of autism in adults that you may have completely missed is this innate inward focus. As a result, through your childhood and through your lifetime, you may have been referred to as daydreaming or lost in the clouds, off in another world. Hello, the lights are on, nobody's home. These types of phrases. People look at you and think, where are you? Where have you gone? You're always going somewhere. What's happening in here? You spend your life inside your mind. People say that to you. What's funny is people say that to you, but no one ever thinks, or it never occurs to someone that that might be as a result of something. The bottom line is autistic adults often operate with an inward focus. That means instead of placing most of our attention on neurotypical things, social interactions, relationships, we're more hyper-focused on our own inner world, meaning our passions, our plans, our structures, our routines, our interests. Right? The idea of me spending an entire weekend deep dive researching into something that I'm desperately passionate about, legal cases from the 1800s potentially, would completely fulfill me. This is something that I can lose time on and love it. Meanwhile, doing that, my phone is blown up because I have missed something. It may have been a get-together, a party, a meeting, an appointment. Not intentionally. I was just entirely consumed in my own world, in my own zone. Now, this inward focus actually also includes masking and camouflaging. So suppressing who we really are to appear more normal. So while we're doing that, we're often simultaneously overwhelmed by unprocessed feelings because we haven't had time or space to work through them. So it's kind of like running an internal software 24/7 while trying to act like everything's fine. But please don't take this the wrong way as in like narcissism. So this isn't about not caring about others. This is about having this inward focus because we know there are certain things that we can do that can help us re-regulate ourselves, navigate a world that was built to literally destroy us. Now from inward focus, I want to talk about the next sign, which has a connection. So being in your own world, I mentioned that before. Okay, well, how's it different, Orion? Let's talk about it. Okay, so inward focus is one thing, but living in your own world is something that autistic adults do as a matter of course. People who aren't us would say, no, that's not true. You're just disconnected from the world. You're just not on the same wavelength as everyone else. Great advice. Thank you. Well done, doctor. I appreciate that, professor. But let's move on and talk about this particular sign. So to the outside world, autistic adults can seem disconnected from people, from their surroundings, even from themselves. Why is that? Well, thinking about it, I can walk into rooms, sit down, and have completely missed that, one, there are others there, or that I may have walked into a room where someone is distressed, is upset. Now, this isn't because I didn't care, or I don't care. It's because my brain hasn't flagged the body language, the cues, the verbal, the non-verbal, the tone. It hasn't seen there's anything urgent. It hasn't registered. And we can also lose track of time. This is why we come across like we're in our own world. Oh, I haven't eaten today. You haven't eaten today? I just forgot. Right? Have you noticed that you've just been sitting somewhere and hours have gone by? You haven't got off the couch? What happened? You're still in that room you were supposed to leave hours ago. When you are born with a different brain, a brain that does not provide you with the tools you need to connect and understand humans that operate on a completely different operating system, you are going to feel disconnected. You are going to feel like you're in your own world. Why is that? Because we are. We have been born into a world that is not made for us. We don't get up in the morning and go, how can I come across like people think I'm completely disconnected and cold towards them and uncaring? We simply aren't. It is hard for us to read the room, to read body language, tone, cues, whatever you, signals, implications. What are you implying? What are you saying? What are you doing? What does this mean? It honestly, it's like trying to decode a foreign language. It's like being born into a world where everyone speaks a language that you don't speak. You never learnt. No one gave you a lesson on this language. There's no dictionaries. There's no rule books. This isn't fun to wake up to every single morning and go through. But it's a reality for autistic adults. For those that are new to the idea of autism, autism is a neurodevelopmental condition, disability, medically diagnosed, recognized disability. So it isn't an intellectual disability, although some autistic people can have co-occurring conditions of intellectual disabilities. It's a neurological developmental. Okay, so we're talking about cognitive development. One of the big things is executive functioning. Think about it. Executive functioning is a set of cognitive skills. They're tools you learn. So if we have a neurodevelopmental condition, disability, our set of cognitive skills, our executive functioning skills, are going to be, at best, a little shaky. Sure, we can build on them and strengthen them, but one of the things that you will struggle with as an autistic person is multitasking. God help us all. For starters, the rant starts here, my friends. Multitasking doesn't exist, douchebag. You mean task switching? You can't multitask. You can switch between tasks, but I don't want to get in an argument with you. I mean, I'm not going to, but enough. There's no such thing. Well, you're a great multitasker. No, you're not. You're great at doing, jobs badly, because all you do, you jump from one job to the next. You switch tasks. Let's stop the rant right there. Bottom line is multitasking is not our strong suit as autistic people. Switching between tasks, managing multiple priorities at once is mentally overwhelming. Why? Well, we don't have the same level of skills as neurotypical people. Here's an example. So when I was at uni studying law, let's say I had 3 assignments due at around about the same time in the semester. I physically couldn't start any of them. I had to work out which one I was going to start, and then I had to fully complete that before even thinking about starting the next one. Now, people would say, Orion, no, you've got to start all 3 and just chip away at each one, bit by bit each day. No, my brain doesn't. What do you mean, start all 3? How can I write 3 essays at once? It's like telling a cook, can you go into the kitchen and do 3 different meals in the one pot at the same time? My brain's like, how do you cook 3 meals in one pot at the same time? It doesn't process information like that. We have to prioritize tasks And it's based on emotional urgency or our passion, not logic, even though we are stronger logically than emotionally. This is where it gets bloody fascinating. This is something that really matters to me personally, okay? I need to do what I want to do first and complete that. And then move on to the next thing and then complete that. And then move on to the next thing and complete that. Yes, the autistic brain can be rigid, concrete, black and white. But that doesn't mean we are less capable. It means we do things differently. Why is that? Different brain. No, I can't do 3 assignments at once. I've got to go one at a time. Did that make my life harder? Absolutely. Could my life have been made easier? Sure. Universities could do simple things like staggering when I get assignments and staggering when they're due. Either way, this is about a brain processing things differently, prioritizing things differently. I don't care if you've got a kid or an adult and a loved one who's autistic. If you want them to learn something, you're going to have to find a way to teach them that thing you wanted them to learn by utilizing some sort of passion of theirs. So it's about what's important to them. It's not about what others think is most important. And don't interrupt that process. When you interrupt that process, you simply build resentment and resistance. On to another sign you might have completely missed, which is sensory sensitivities. Extremely sensitive to sensory input. Hypo or hyper, meaning an over experience or an under experience. This is easily one of the most visible signs, frankly, but it's probably one of the least understood. So, what's an example? I've had to leave dinner because the clinging and the clanging. No one cares. The cutlery on the plates, apparently it's not an issue. Or the people that chew so loudly you can hear them literally chew and swallow from the next suburb, apparently it's not an issue. One of those is bad enough. You put them together and it's like, you know what? I think I'll go ahead and eat my dinner outside. Either way, I'm eating with animals. As an autistic person, you are going to experience sensory input differently. It's as simple as that. You might not experience pain like others, or you might have a hyper experience of pain. I tend to experience minor pain far worse than I experience major pain. I can't explain why. What do you want from me, my friends? Either way, sensory input can feel like a full-on assault of our senses. I'm not a big fan of noises with regards to like sudden noises. They startle the hell out of me. Loud noises, high-pitched sounds, humming and buzzing. And what is that noise? Where is that coming from? But you know what's really funny? Maybe it's funny, maybe it's not. As an autistic person, I tend to speak quite loudly. I make a lot of noise too. I can accidentally drop things, right, and cause a startling noise. I'm probably not the quietest person on the planet. I like loud music. It makes no sense to people. This is very important. So listen to this. I've just told you, if you eat loudly or make little noises with your cup or your cutlery, I can't take it. My body inside starts burning and I've got to go. Yet, I could be the guy slurping my coffee. I don't realize it. And what's funny is, look, the only insight I can say is it's how our brain must work. When I slurp my coffee, there's something about it that it doesn't input the sense to me. But when you slurp your coffee, that deeply impacts me. I understand how horribly contradictory this is. But I guess the point is the input, the sounds, the sensory sensations that are coming to me have a detrimental impact, far worse than the things I'm creating myself. It's a paradox, I get it. And I'm not saying we're perfect, we're clearly not. The things that trigger us from a sensory point of view are probably things that we as autistic people may do far worse than anyone else could ever dream of. But it doesn't matter because to you, it doesn't have the same impact. So you doing something that you think is quieter than I would do it, or you slurping your drink quieter than I slurp my drink, in my brain may be 10 times worse, louder, more impactful than my slurp to you. Does that make sense? There's no way I would intend to live my life being triggered by someone chewing loudly. It's bloody stupid. When I'm startled all of a sudden by a noise, and it can be accidental, I get so angry. My brain's reaction is anger because it hurts that much. It's like, what was that? Who did that? It's like, whoa, what happened there? But it is really loud, or it is really startling. It impacts our brain in a way I can't understand. So getting up in the morning and going, hey, I'm just going to walk around and get angry at people for being human, that's not our intention. We actually have a brain where squeaky doors, people slurping their drinks, the loud ticking of clocks, noises, lights, smells is a massive one. What is that smell? Who made that? Where's that coming from? Right? All these types of sensory inputs can have a genuinely profound impact on our brains. And the reaction is just, again, it's even more dysregulation, which just snowballs into a need for more alone time. More time to try and re-regulate ourselves in a world, no matter where we are, is designed to dysregulate us. Autistic traits in adults are often misunderstood. But with awareness comes clarity. And with clarity comes potential diagnosis. For even more, check out my playlist, Autism Diagnosis for Adults.